sound big.
Come on, man. Let's start the show.
All right, well, let's start the show. What's going on, people? This is your boy, comedian Alfred Kainga. Welcome to the A to Z show. This is my boy, my co-host, Mr. Ira Coles.
That was good.
Already.
I mean, you know.
We're still a work in progress. We're still looking for an intro song, though.
We'll get the intro song. I don't want you copyright infringing other people's.
Yeah, we'll be cut off before we even get started.
I mean, a lawsuit wouldn't be horrible, though. You know what I'm saying?
That
Sometimes
means
a lawsuit can help.
That means
you.
with some people.
Yeah.
All right, people, what's going on? We're going to get right into it. I am so excited about this weekend, man.
This coming weekend?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Juneteenth.
Juneteenth. Tell us about that. What you going to be doing?
Well, actually, I got a gig. I'm DJing People's Last Stand on Saturday. If you in Dallas, come through.
I'm going to be on stage.
You gonna be on stage? Where you
On
at?
stage in Frisco, Texas.
Frisco.
Yeah, we got this
Okay.
nice little theater out there.
Yeah, Frisco is nice.
Come on now.
Frisco is very
We're
nice.
doing it nice. You know what I mean? Let's get the show going. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a amazing guest today, all right? This brother has been in the game for a long time. One of my mentors, man. Badass dude in the game. As a matter of fact, he was the youngest host of Showtime at the Apollo. Def Comedy Jam.
Amazing.
We're talking about a legend in the game.
Man, anybody.
First Amendment with Martin Lawrence. Come on, man. Did some shows and work with Dave Chappelle,
Yes.
Kevin Hart. I can name, but he's here today with us.
Yes.
My big brother. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rudy Rush.
Hey, what's good, fellas?
What's up, Rudy?
I'm good.
Am I supposed to? I gotta give him the time. DJ. Now it's
Y'all
official.
got a nice little setup here.
Thank you.
I
Thank
wish
you, man.
everybody
Appreciate
could
it,
see
man.
how intricate and how technologically sound. Because I said that wrong. Technologically sound this whole studio is. When you walk in, you feel like you're in a state-of-the-art place.
Now,
And
let me
then-
tell you
and then
something.
you come into the studio.
Appreciate
and
that,
it's
but
even-
don't lean back on that futon
Okay.
too hard though.
I try not to.
Yeah.
We got some things propped up, okay?
yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
so we got evicted from our first studio. First show. So you gotta go.
Gotta move around, man.
Gotta move around.
Nah.
We movers and shakers,
Y'all
baby.
doing some things. It's a nice little setup.
The A to Z show, bro.
Nah, absolutely.
We going worldwide. You got people in South Africa, Zimbabwe, Australia, UK watching you right now.
That's what's up. What's up, everybody? What's good?
Man, listen, Rudy, I'm so glad that you're here, man. Let me break it down for some of these people that don't understand what we got right here. Rudy, you've been in the game for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
You're one of the best to do it.
I am.
How long you been in the game, bro?
Oh, man. Over 25 years. You know, I started when I was I was 19 years old.
Yeah.
And so, I started out of New York City. And, like I said, today, just the career speaks for itself. I mean, it's a journey that, I'm proud of. A lot of people don't, have this type of I guess, I wouldn't say career, but like I love what I've done so far.
Yeah, man.
And I got a lot more to do. So, you know what I mean? So the game is what it is.
Definitely. So let me get into this because for me, kind of the epitome in the 90s era was Def Comedy Jam.
Oh, yeah.
And, And I recall vividly seeing you on Def Comedy Jam. So not only was it a great set, but just being that young, like Chris Rock brought you out. So I'm saying early on you working with legends. Like what was that like, man?
Well, the first thing I can remember, like I thought Chris was going to get me buried because, I'm from Harlem, New York.
Right.
And, I was living in Brooklyn. So when they ask you to fill out the paperwork for your check, they just took that information and gave it to Chris. So when he introduced me, he was like, from Brooklyn. And, he's from Brooklyn. So he was more than excited.
Yeah.
Cats saw that back at home. They was like, yo, son, you from Brooklyn now? I was like, yo. Chris Rock. But no, it was actually one of the greatest moments of my career at that point, of course.
Yeah.
To not only do Def Jam, because to be in that fraternity of brothers and sisters being able to be that funny. Because if you did Def Jam, back when I did it, you were considered, if not one of the funniest comics in comedy, period. Not only just urban, just you were legit. And to have Chris Rock be a special hope and bring me out, it just spoke volumes to where I was at that particular point in my career.
Now, let me tell you something about that whole episode. I'm in Africa at this point. I'm in Zimbabwe in 1996, right?
Hey.
And we had VHS tapes back home. We didn't have cable or satellite back in the 90s, right? But we had some people sprinkled around, who would live overseas. I got a homeboy of mine. His cousin used to live in LA. So he used to send him VHS tapes. That's how we used to watch all these movies, right? And so I got a hold of this Def Comedy Jam Old Star tape, and I took it home, man, and I watched that thing. And I see this young dude wearing a rugby jersey, black and white, in the States, talking about, bootleg movies.
And it's so funny, like that joke has carried up until this point, like when I meet people, like, back then, if you see me now, you know what I mean? I'm bald headed, I got the beard and all that, but I had a totally different look. I had hair with a hairline, all that.
No beard.
So a lot of people don't recognize
they
don't recognize that's me.
Yeah.
And so it's so funny when I meet folks and they like, I remember back in the day with Def Jam. And then some people will recite the joke and be like, but there was one kid on there I loved the joke about. I was like, that was me.
That was incredible, man.
So it was an incredible time. It was like I said, had only been doing comedy about a year. That was my second television credit because I had done Apollo Comedy Hour. A lot of people don't remember that show. It was like a sketch comedy show.
Okay.
And they were trying to like emulate somewhat of a Living Color type of deal situation. But it didn't get the national recognition, but Def Jam came and just was sweeping the country.
Yeah.
And so to be able to, like I said, to do that, because everybody couldn't. Just imagine the year that I did it, I had been doing comedy for a few months. I had missed the cycle. So I wasn't able to do it the first time I was eligible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was upset about it. I was mad. I was like, I'm good enough. But to be honest, when I taped it and then Chris Rock was the host, all the elements was right. And I was like, this is why I didn't do it the first time, the year before. This is when I was supposed to do it. And I was actually not only, a good time, I was ready. I was more
I was about to
ready.
say, because you say you was a year in, so would you have even been ready the first time?
So
because that set was a solid set.
Yo, the greatest thing that they did was one, not allow me to do it the year that I was able to do it. Like not when Def Jam first came out. The year before I did it, they had different hosts. They had Ricky Harris, Joe Torre, and I believe Adele Givens. I don't know who were the three people who were hosting. I think it was Adele. And so but instead of me being able to perform, they let me hang out because I had that much credibility as a comic. They were like, yo, give them a credential, let them hang out. So I was backstage hanging out with Cedric and bruh, man, all the top stars at the time.
Right. Yeah.
And as I was watching it, I said, I ain't ready for this shit. It was an emotional undertaking, like the energy in there. Like, you've seen Def Jam at its height where people are screaming, yelling, jumping. And I've seen some of my, my counterparts who are a little older, been in the game, who got a chance to do it. And I was all, a little salty, but I was like, I'm going to come hang out.
Right.
And I learned a lesson that day. I was like, yo, take your time. And then when the time came, I was more ready to step into that place, which turned me into a person who was just featured on to turn it into the headliner. My set was that good that when they edited it,
definitely,
they put me in that headliner spot with Chris Rock as the host.
Right.
Yeah, that was crazy. And people don't realize because everything's so soft now, but people don't realize what it was like. Like, even though this was on TV, the crowd was legit. Like, the crowd was real. This is a New York audience. Like, if somebody was whack, they'll let you have it.
Yeah.
They would let you have it.
So you've seen some people bomb on that?
No, I've seen plenty of people bomb on the Def. And the funny thing is, you're not going to see it because, of course, Def Jam is a product. So they want to put all the good material on it.
Right.
But there are plenty of people who actually bomb because, I'll just give everybody this example now. You can get an understanding. Every Def Jam show you saw was 3 comics. It was the host, and then there were 3 comics. Well, I'm going to blow everybody's mind right now. Every Def Jam you have seen, this one person was left out.
Yeah. Damn.
Good or bad,
you
were left out. Now, you could have had a good set, and then somebody had a better set.
Yeah.
That's the game. And so we had that. So it was almost like gladiator school. You had to come in there like, yo, not only do I have to make it, I gotta be even funnier. It's not enough to be funny. You gotta be the best set tonight. And that's what you had to strive for. And that's what I think really catapulted me into being in the position I was, being the headliner of that show. My mentality was, I gotta be not only better than these other 3 cats.
Yeah.
I gotta be better than everybody. I can't. I gotta be better than Chris. I wanna make it.
Yeah.
So that's what happened.
And so then right after that, man, you became the youngest host of Showtime at the Apollo. How did that happen?
So, it's funny like how you affiliate with certain things. It wasn't like they came for me. It was a situation where Steve Harvey was the host, and he was, and to this day I say he's one of the best hosts in American history.
Yeah.
Put him up right there. He might be like with Alice Trebek at Jeopardy.
Right.
His name has to fall in line with one of the best hosts, if not the best host in American history.
Right.
I said it right here.
Yeah.
Regardless of how people, because sometimes people hate on Steve, and sometimes
He's the baddest host.
He's the baddest host ever.
Yeah.
So following in those footsteps, what happened was, I had an opportunity to do warm-ups for Steve. So when I was at the age of 23, they brought me in, and I was supposed to actually watch behind two other veteran comics who were going to do. So we had 3 nights. They did 4 shows a night. And so on the third night, I was supposed to take over, like watch the other 2 guys and watch how they do warm-ups.
Yeah.
And then you just, you come in there and see what you can do. Well, the other 2 guys had gigs come up, or they didn't want to work with Steve, or whatever situation transpired. It just
kind of right in the water.
Right in the mix. They was like, listen,
Opportunity.
it's the first night, it's Friday, we're going to throw you out there and see what happens, blah, blah, blah. And, to my credit, I mean, I've done not necessarily crowd work, but I've gone out there. I've gone on in crowds and stuff like that. And it wasn't my first time on the Apollo stage, so it wasn't like I was afraid in that, in that sense. But that first night, I just took off. After that night, they came to my dressing room and they was like this, yo, Steve like you.
Yeah.
We like you. We're going to continue to just roll with this for the rest of the weekend. And then that first taping turned into doing like 3 years. And then Steve didn't want to do the Apollo Kids tour. And, like when you're young, you don't realize, you don't want to do this. It's going to be around the country. You're going to be doing this and that. Man, it was tedious. It was great for me, though.
Yeah.
The money was excellent. The relationship with McDonald's was even more important, and American Airlines just, getting my name out there. So how I became the host of the show was I was doing everything from the beginning, stepping into roles that didn't want to be stepped into or couldn't be stepped into. Yeah. So I always, tell young comics, don't be afraid to if you don't want to do warm-ups, then why are you in the game?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that propelled me into like I said, doing warm-ups, to being a host of Apollo Kids Tour, to be like, yo, he knows the crowd, he knows the kids, he knows the system. Who else better than to have him at least get a shot? And they gave me a shot with 2 other vets that deserved a chance. They gave us 3 shows apiece, and then once they finished with that and editing and looking at it, they were like, who's going to be the person to carry this mantle for the next few years? And I just happened to be the one.
That's what's up. That's major, bro.
Yeah.
And the whole warm-up situation, like we discussed before, like, I don't see how, unless you really, really, are already moving, why you would not look at that as a great opportunity. Number 1, it's a steady paycheck. Number 2, you're practicing your craft daily.
Just imagine this, fellas.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying? And Alfred, you still in the game, like we both are, but at the same time, you still at a point where you're gonna have a lot more opportunities that come to you that you're not familiar with.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that comics are like, every comic has an idea of what comedy is and what comedy should be. But I feel like, just to tell comics out there, opportunities come when you just allow yourself to just be a part of something. Just think about this. At the time, the Kings of Comedy were just kind of getting formed. It wasn't even formed yet when I started doing warm-ups. Like towards the end of my tenure with Steve as the host, that's when they came out with the Kings of Comedy. But at the time, the Apollo was must-see TV.
Right.
Yeah.
People stayed up after Saturday Night Live, and it was all about the Apollo.
Yeah.
Around the country.
Yeah.
Okay, and around the world even. But so I'm working with that guy. I'm the lion tamer before he comes out. So to me, in my heart, even to this day, when I see these old shows when Steve is hosting and all that stuff, you see that energy when everybody's amped up.
That up.
I set that up.
Yes,
I made
sir.
that plate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing better to have that feeling, if you really about it. When people say, oh, I'm doing it for the love, that was strictly for the love, that because I didn't get any props from it. I got my check from it.
Right.
Yeah.
which when you're doing warm up, it's a humbling, moderate check. It's a good check because you're working. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it was even more so for me when Steve would come out there and have his suit on and put his arms out and everybody going crazy. They didn't just see him and went crazy.
Right.
They got lathered up. They were like, yo, that young dude just made us laugh. We ready, Steve. What's up? Ready, yeah. And that's how I felt. I felt I was responsible for that. You know what I mean? So,
which is true.
Yeah, and I was.
And then so when you took over, he left you them suits because you was in them suits.
So wait. Yeah, yo, they put me in the closet. I was like,
he was in them suits.
Look, I was like, what the fuck these suits come from? They like, yeah, we don't want you to put those on. So the first, if anybody paid attention, which Alfred apparently did, yo, I'm telling you, them first set of suits was like, I was like Ringling Brothers, Bottom and Bailey Hood Circus. I was like, God dang.
They gave you Steve leftover suits.
Nah.
That was his first line. That was Steve Harvey's first line of suits.
I can say this. The first line of suits I had,
suits is crazy.
They were inspired by Steve Harvey. Somebody really liked Steve and they tried to throw me up in there. Yeah. But then the second season, you know, we got a stylist, and when they were like, "Nah, we're gonna go for some more solid colors. We're gonna try this kind of some Dolce Gabbana."
I gotta go back and watch now. Now you got me thinking. I don't remember the crazy suit.
Oh yeah,
I remember Steve, but I don't remember you with the crazy. I gotta see this now.
Like a blue pinstripe, and then was one. Somebody stop me!
Not the mask.
I was out there looking like the mask for real.
Rudy, you've seen the game evolve, man, from back then when you guys had that crazy energy, Def Comedy Jam, and now to what you see comedy as.
But before we even get off of that, like, because I think for the masses, like, the Apollo was like so major, but as a Harlem cat, did you see the Apollo the way we seen the Apollo, or was it just like a dope theater in the hood?
That's funny you say that because I get asked that question often. But so this is the deal. A lot of the hosts, whether it was Mark Curry, Sinbad, Steve, like I mentioned, the only other host I believe that was from New York was Rick Aviles. And people don't remember Rick Aviles. He was one of the first hosts, Spanish cat of the Apollo. And, you know, to be honest, being from the Apollo, I walked past the Apollo Theater if there was a record of how many times I passed it as a kid. Because on 125th Street, if people don't know, like 125th Street in Harlem, New York, is a shopping.
It's the Mecca.
It's the Mecca. Yeah, you do a lot of your shopping. I mean, I done went there shopping for school clothes, went around with my friends, went to McDonald's, did everything on 125th Street. But I'm 110% second generation of that. So my parents, who are born and bred in Harlem, snuck into the Apollo Theater to see the Jackson 5, to see James Brown, to see Aretha Franklin. You know what I'm saying? They stayed up in the rafters. So to your point, to be able to grow up now, it's almost like having a key to the city. Yeah. It's like I'm from down the street. My mom is walking through the backstage door, being ushered into the balcony where they had dignitaries and special people. Now she's sitting in that seat, and my father's sitting in that seat to watch their son, who they used to sneak in to see people. Everybody's coming in, and my name is on the ticket, it's on the flyers, it's on everything, and I'm controlling the show. So it's like, and everybody in the audience is like, yo, that's Jimmy from 22G. That's the dude I grew. That's the motherfucker I went to Catholic school with. You know what I'm saying? That's the girl that I ain't know how to do it doggy style, so we ain't get to do it. I couldn't take my pants. I'm gonna let you try it again. I couldn't take my pants off. I was like, how we do this shit? I said, I guess I'm gonna have to wait till I'm 16 to figure this out. So it was that kind of a deal, like to have it, the hometown kid. It's almost like, you know, watching the NBA, somebody like Stephon Marbury or even you know, Derrick Rose or LeBron James even come back to their hometown. Yeah. To do a sport. Yeah. So that's how it felt.
Local kid does good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was dope. And that was like, it was a surreal feeling, honestly. You know what I mean? Because it was funny too, because it kept you humble. Yeah. Kept me humble because when I left, I went to go play basketball down the street. I lived down the block.
Right. You were still at home, man.
I was still at home. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So tell me, man, you got a lot of experience. I'm still considered like a new comic in the game.
No, you are.
Right? But you've seen it both ways. How has comedy changed in your eyes?
Man, there's so many different things, and I think comics have to start evolving because there was a way to do it, and even just to give an example, when those Def Comedy Jam and other venues like BET's Comic View started coming out, other comics of long-standing history, like they used to always kind of be like, the oversaturation of comedy was a thing. You know what I mean? It wasn't that many comics prior to those venues,
Okay.
and then all of a sudden, if you lived in Jacksonville, Mississippi, now you got a chance to build a club,
Right.
or a situation to where you could bring comedy here all the time because everybody's aware. Hey, you bill it out. Let's say you live in Tempe, Florida,
Right.
or Arizona, Tempe, Arizona, or you live in Jacksonville, Florida. Now you could say Def Comedy Jam Comics. Now you got a spot. You didn't have that before. TV brought in a new echelon of a new breed of a bunch of comics, and the same thing is happening now. So when you talk to what's going on now, the internet is you got a lot of people making fame off of doing these sketches and doing bits, and in the comics that come from our era are looking back at it oh, that's fucking whack. They doing our material. But you got to kind of get what's going on, because I can name maybe 4 or 5 comics right now who are doing quite well financially off of just posting videos and skits and content.
Yeah.
And not only are they getting paid off the content, they're getting paid because people think they're funny and they booking them.
For real.
And some of them are even going through that period where they weren't, and now they're getting funny.
But there's one dude who came from your era who crossed over, and he's doing the skits like crazy. My African brother, Michael Blackson.
Oh, yeah. Now, I think this was something that really benefited Michael Blackson. Not to say that he was never funny.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because he always had a presence. He always and he was in the game before me. I remember watching him on the Uptown Comedy Club. And that was a show that inspired Def Comedy Jam, and they were doing a snap battle, and it was him, Monique, Talent, Tracy Morgan, and Michael Blackson was on that stage, and he was telling jokes and back then and stuff like that. But everything was always your mother this and blah 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 blah, and it was just like anything else, it was the phenomenon seeing one of our brothers from the motherland being in the mix telling jokes. That was his niche. But now, like you said, he's used the social media platform to further his career, to make himself more of an iconic figure. And I like the fact that he's done that because, like I said, if you go see a show and you see Michael Blackson for an hour, I don't know, it's still a little different than seeing someone who is legitimately about jokes. It's like going to see a rap show. There's people who you like to see the show, and there's other people you listen to for the lyrics.
Right.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with either one of them.
It's a great analogy.
You know what I'm saying? He ain't a lyricist, but he put on a fucking show.
Yeah.
That's the way, and like I said, a lot of people don't know this about Michael Blackson. I'm gonna give him his rose. He's responsible for maybe 80% of the comics on the northeastern seaboard area having careers, myself included.
What?
Because he used to work for an airline. I don't know if y'all remember. It wasn't US. Yeah, it was US Air.
Okay.
And I think they got bought by Continental, or then that shit changed to something else. But back then, he used to work there, and he had connections to where buddy passes. That's when buddy passes was real. Like you wait in the airport with a buddy pass back then. You getting on a flight and you going wherever. And a lot of times, a lot of comics couldn't work because the promoters did not want to spend that money on the budget
for the flights.
For flights, you had to either drive yourself or fly yourself, and you didn't have the money to pay for it. You trying to get work.
So he was hooking everybody up.
So you would call Mike, and almost like a transaction. He would make sure I don't know where the fuck he was getting those motherfucking tickets from, but he had a gang of buddy passes, and you get on the Scepter or the Jersey Trans. You go out to Philly where he was at. You meet him up, and maybe you have some soda, some coffee, or something like that. Grab something to eat because so it's not long, but it's a couple hours. From New York City.
That's
a
good two.
But he would give you tickets, so you'll have Mike, I got some shows coming up, and then you for $100 or maybe $200, you can get 6 buddy passes. And that shit just made your career because you were able to go and build a rapport. Then when you go to the club and you show them that you the shit, then all of a sudden they want to bring you back.
Right.
And now you and it pays more, and they flying you out. Yo, Rule, you did your thing when you came through, man.
Yes.
Sorry about that first thing when we had you get your ticket, but we don't know if motherfuckers funny yet. You know what I'm saying? Because that was the chilling circuit. But Michael Blackson not only did it for me, but he did it for a bunch of comics.
That's what's up, man. Shout out to the African brother.
Yes.
Shout out Michael Blackson. That's
Harriet Tubman of Northeast.
Harriet Tubman of comedy. That's real because I've never heard him speak on that. So that shows his, how humble he is
don't
about
brag
it.
on it.
He paid it forward, huh?
Or he might statute of limitations. That motherfucker. He could probably still get arrested.
He's scared to talk about it. He might
I think statute of limitations.
I probably just dry stitched on him.
As long as none of them flights was international, I think he's good.
No, I don't think so. But you never know. Like I said, like Buddy Passes, you could just call it in. But he had that and he wasn't, of course he benefited because he had his little hustle going. But he was helping us.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is so crazy.
Yep. Shout out to Mike.
So let me ask you something, Rudy. You made a... Okay, let me talk about this real quick. So I met you about 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's crazy how time flies, right? Just got back into the game.
And he's still friendly with me. That's the craziest part.
Friendly with everybody. I'm going to drink to that. Yes. Cheers, Rudy. You're still my friend. That's my big brother. But check this out. So you were coming out here to headline this show called We Got Next, right here in Dallas.
Yeah.
So they advertised the show. The promoter said he's looking for a couple of people to open for Rudy, right? So there was a little competition. And you probably didn't know this.
No.
So they did a little competition in a little comedy hood spot. And man, I was out there. I'm like, man, I get to finally meet this dude. And not only meet him, but I'm going to work with him. I'm going to be the feature. And it was a paid spot, right? So I get there, man, and I do my thing. I felt like I killed it. But this one dude come up there, man, he busted me upside the head. Black Ron. And they say Black Ron won. I'm dejected. I leave. I'm in my car. And then the promoter
called. So
you're
still not accepting that?
Yeah, because I felt like, they were looking down upon me because I was new African brother then. I wasn't Michael Blackson, They were looking down upon me. Yeah, I'm still salty. We need a redo. Black Ron.
I remember y'all having that competition too. Like they were telling me they were doing that.
So they called me, man. I'm on my way home, man, and they're like, "Hey, man, you lost, but you were badass. So we're gonna give you a guest spot. You can still come out and do your thing, 10-minute spot." And I said, I'll never forget this. I said, "How much is the guest spot?" The nigga said, "It's just a guest spot. You get to feature open for Roy."
You still trying to get that payment?
Yeah, I was still trying to get paid, because I was at Walmart then, man. I'm tired of Walmart at this point.
African brothers about their money.
Yeah. So I come out to the show, man. I'm ready. I'm excited. There's 4 people on stage. The host gets up there. He introduces me because I'm the guest spot. I'm only doing 10 minutes. I get up there and I do my thing, right? Everybody comes up, and then the headliner comes. It's sold out. It's packed. Rudy's just ripping it. But right there, when I felt good, because he got up there and he said, "Yo, that African nigga, who is that?"
I did, because I was like, "Yo, where y'all find this dude?" Because you really kind of like, like you set yourself apart that night, and out of everybody who went on, because that's one thing, like, everybody's different. I'm not the headliner that doesn't like to watch the show before I get ready to go. There's a lot of guys that show up 5 minutes before they supposed to go on. And I think you lose a little bit from that because you don't know what your crowd is looking for. You don't. Right. It's almost like you don't care. And not to say that most headliners don't care. It's just how I personally feel. Like, I want to see the energy of the show, especially if we doing a weekend. Now, that was a one-night situation, but even more so, I just want to see what everybody, so nobody's talking the same subject matter. Yeah. Nobody's doing something that maybe stealing the joke that I'm about to go do, and then when it falls flat, and I've seen it happen to some headliner, like somebody did something that they did beforehand and they didn't know, and the joke fall flat, and they sit on stage like, "What the fuck? Like, why y'all ain't laughing?"
Right.
Because the motherfucker who went on first said the same exact thing.
3 people done
That's especially if it's not to cut you off, but especially if you're talking about current events.
No, absolutely.
If you're talking about current events, it's likely that another
person
comic
is going to talk about that.
spoke on it.
Yeah, so I like to watch that for two things. Like I said, to watch the show, watch the energy, see what they like, see what they don't like, and then I kind of calculate. So even like, there's a time, and I'll talk about one time Alfred at work with me. I think maybe it had been the last time we worked together. He was featuring for me. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't like, and I'm gonna put it out there, a lot of comics don't like a strong feature.
Yeah.
It's a problem. And
I've noticed that just kind of as an outsider, just watching, because I'm heavy into the industry, and I watch and I see, and even how certain cats say in certain people have certain shit in their writer that they say, you can't say this, you can't do this. Yeah. I'm like, that's crazy.
But you know what? I used to be against that. I used to be like, nah, you need to go out there, and if you the person, if you the headliner, you should be able to handle that.
Yeah.
Well, I feel a lot different now because I've been a headliner for years, and now I understand more so. The only reason why I benefit from it because I used to be the feature. Yeah. So having a strong feature for me is just an opportunity for me to have to step my game up. Right. But to have to go on every single night after someone like an Alfred King, that means like I'm not necessarily enjoying myself. I'm working.
You're working.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to love what you do. Like, we love comedy, like all comedy. So I used to wonder why DL ain't calling me? Why Cedric ain't calling me? And no disrespect to anybody who's ever opened for some of those great comics. Right. But I'm telling you, I'm a different dude. Yeah. So that's why I wasn't getting that call.
They're like,
because Alfred, because when Alfred got
nobody want to be upstage.
Because when Alfred got his weight up, I was like, why don't you open up for me, right? We did it wasn't Caroline's, it was the Improv. That shit was packed, and this motherfucker gonna show his ass. He showed his ass that night, yo. But and it's not being disrespectful, Al. You my guy, you know what I'm saying? But I had to go and put the Big Brother smackdown right after. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how we do, but this is how we do. Yeah. You know?
Hey, nigga, this my show.
Exactly. But in my mind, the whole time, I have to be honest, it's just not me being like, scared to express this. Alfred was on my mind about maybe 60% of my set. It was about like, this motherfucker just killed it, and I cannot let these people, leave here feeling like I'm not that dude. Yeah. I'm the dude they came to see. So that's one of the things that I've also learned as time went by. I opened up for everybody one time.
Right. It's a gift and a curse.
Everybody from Paul Mooney, Mike Epps, Tracy Morgan. I've done weekends with everybody. Yeah. I've gotten fired about 3 or 4 times. Chappelle fired me. And when I say fired, I mean like just, they couldn't
kick you off the tour.
Kick me off that weekend. Yeah. Chappelle has, the funniest one was Ricky Smiley. We was in Ontario, California. He was out there one weekend. And I'm talking about Ricky had like 4 or 5 people on the show. So it was a little bit more than what I was normally. It was a lot of people. And then, but I was murdering. And it was like, dog, we gonna pay you for a weekend. Everything gonna be. I said, I'm gonna get my check. You know what I'm saying? I said, but out of everybody, I'm the only one that gotta go. You ain't let 2 of us go, like, what the fuck this guy? And I'm the funny, like, I'm killing it. Like, so why I got to go?
But did he hit you with the with the crackhead voice though? Man,
Ricky sound like that. Oh my God. Ebony, head crack. Get Rudy the check. My grandmama and them.
You sound just like Ricky.
We gonna play. We gonna play. Look, when I came out there, I was Rudy. Get him his check. Look, and the funny thing was, it was a ways away because Ontario is Ontario, California, where the Improv is. It's about like an hour and some change from LA. So I had to come out there. And I get to the club like motherfucker, you could call me at home. We try to
bring up new cats.
We try to call you earlier. I was like, motherfucker, but they got a check for you. They gonna pay you for the rest of the weekend. I was like, all right, it is what it is. And me and Ricky, we friends to this day. But I get it now. When you, and it's hard to tell a young comic, but I would tell young comics out there, like, pace yourself. Yeah. Like, I don't know how you can beat less funny.
Yeah.
I've never really mastered that, but I have mastered the idea of these 3 jokes are good, but they ain't gonna kill my boy coming up after me.
Right.
Yeah.
This will establish like I'm a funny dude, and then it'll give my headliner, the only person, and I think women out here need to hear this, the only motherfucker who I can bring the heat and they come behind me and win, lose, or draw, they bring it. Some more is that dude.
Wow.
Some more is a writer. She is a professional. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
There's some things like I've worked with her before, and even in respect, every time she called me, I feel like she's a damn karate master. Like she wanna figure out how to do these jokes under this type of circumstances, under this type of pressure.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because anything else would be like, all right, I know my opening acts are gonna do this and do that. She got some solid cats working with her.
Yeah.
Like Razor and my man Touré's a solid cat. You know what I'm saying? And there's no disrespect to my guys,
Yeah.
but I'm Rudy Rush. It's a difference, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's all that, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, but with her, when she called me, when her and her husband called me, you know what I'm saying? My man Wayne called me. I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm in a Marvel superhero movie. Like, all right, I know what kind of mission this is.
Man.
And I don't hold any. She don't ask me to hold nothing back.
Yeah.
She let me go and do my thing, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'm Rudy Rush, so when people leave that showroom, even after enjoying her, they be like, yo, we wish we would have saw you longer. But she goes up there, and I'm telling you, she's legit.
And you're right, man. I've had circumstances where other headliners have told me after I got off the stage for the first time, like, yo, I don't need you to do this. I don't need you to cuss. I need you to give me a tight 8 minutes. And I'm like, man, why you nitpicking my stuff? And then I've had other headliners like you, be like, nigga,
Do you?
Go.
do you?
No, because listen, when you get them up there, listen, my booty hole be tight. I be like, God damn, I don't do it like that, dog. But at the same time, it puts me in a different space. So it like it's almost like a movie where you got a superhero that needs to have this certain thing happen for you to really see the full capability of his powers. Someone like Alfred would do that, where sometimes like there's certain people who open up for me. I'm back there like almost laughing, like okay, wait till they see me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wait till they get a load of me, like if they laughing at this, like, and that sometimes I gauge it like that. I'm like, yo, those jokes are pedestrian, like they regular, and these people eating that up, I'm about to kill it.
Right.
And that's what headliners like. They like to have capable, just mid-range jump shooting motherfucking comics be on stage. But when you got somebody shooting from half court like Alfred's capable of doing, you know what I'm saying? That's a problem. You know what I mean? And you have to be careful. In a lot of relationships, I would be very surprised to see 2 strong comics who've ever opened for a duration of time for a person. It just don't happen.
Yeah.
You see why Cat Williams go through comedy so much. You always somebody new on his tour.
Yeah.
Till they start growing some hair on their chest.
Gotta go.
Yeah.
And to me, I think like we discussed earlier, it's kind of a gift and a curse, because as a what's the word I want to use?
Get your dictionary out.
I was going to say pedestrian, but not necessarily pedestrian, but just as a person who is there to be entertained, watching and observing for the time period that I have, I noticed a couple of things. While, like you said, if it's your show, you don't want the headliner to be like the feature, rather. You don't want the feature to be like too crazy. But at the same time, if these people been sitting for a while, you don't want a weak feature either.
No, you don't.
Because if they're weak, then they're like,
no. But some people will bring a weak feature.
They like that.
Because at the very minimum, a feature's a comedian. It's almost like being that 12th man on the end of an NBA bench. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to get in there and drop 40. You might not even drop 3 points. You know what I'm saying? You out there, but your body language and all that stuff, you supposed to be out there.
Yeah.
So there's a chance you're going to hit a jump shot or 2. You know what I'm saying? And that's what like most headliners like, all right, he going to hit a jump shot or 2. He going to make somebody giggle. And even how we've been trained as audience members. You know, like I don't know who this is. Like this might be his first time on stage.
Right.
Like you know, people look at you and gauge you like that. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Until you do something like Alfred or me. Like you know, when I was young, I'm telling you, I used to open up and people would be like, "Who
is this dude?
Is this dude? Who the fuck is this?"
I
young
like
dude?
it when they come to you after the show and be like, "Yo, you were fun. You done the headline."
Yeah. If I had $5 for every time I heard that, I wouldn't have to talk to be simulcast. I would be eating grapes in motherfucking Maui and my place.
The ladies with the palm leaves.
I promise you. Yeah. I'm talking about Louis C.K. I'm talking about Dane Cook. I'm talking about all the top comics who have ever graced the stage, who have ever had me on there before them.
Yeah.
Had a problem.
Yeah, them is big cats too, but I understand why though. But I can completely relate with what you're saying too, because like even me with like DJing, I feel the same way. Like certain cats that if I'm opening for somebody bigger name, yo, don't play this song, don't play that, don't play that. I'm like, I don't care what you play, I'm gonna go in.
Yeah.
So I don't care if somebody's opening for me. I don't care what you play, I'm gonna go in regardless. I got 5 terabytes of music. Nothing you play is gonna make me feel like, oh no. You know? So I completely relate to what y'all saying, and that's crazy, man.
Yeah, you use terabytes.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot of bytes.
How many bytes?
I got all the songs. I got them all.
Terabytes.
But bro, I gotta give you your flowers, man. People don't know this. I gotta give you your flowers, man. You actually helped me get my very first TV credit. People don't know this.
And you still haven't paid me back yet. No.
I'm working. Wait on it. The coronavirus came and shut down the world. We were getting ready to go to Africa.
You did your thing, bro. You know, it's funny with that whole situation. I was doing 2 things when I did that.
Yeah.
I was looking out for you, who I felt you deserved it, because in the Texas region, I felt you were one of the strongest comics. I felt that you were ready. You know, as opposed to and this is not a knock on a lot of the other comics who are up for it. Being ready is something different.
Yeah.
Alfred, you had an energy that I felt would have matched that. And I was actually, first, before I was looking out for you, I was looking out for my friend. Because Kevin Hart and I, that's my little brother too.
Right,
you know,
right,
much
right.
like yourself, you know what I'm saying? So I watched him come up. We had a lot of intimate situations where, you know, we hung out and did things and, you know, like know the same people. Or, you know, when I lived in California, we played basketball. There's a bunch of us in New York. We used to play basketball as well. So I watched Kevin come up and being proud of him and everybody who was on that project. First thing I was like, yo, I'm going to make them, I'm not only going to hook them up with some comics, I'm going to give them what I felt was the best.
Right.
So what I did was I found out that they were not going to come to Dallas for a couple of years. If you notice, they skipped over Dallas to set the season after you. And so with that, I was like, this dude, we cannot wait. We cannot wait on Alfred Kenga to be on TV for another year and a half. Alfred Kenga needs to be on TV.
Yeah.
And it needs to show well with Kevin, because you know what? They got maybe 3 or 4 seasons out of it. And I think yours was the first season. And that's what catapulted them into having multiple seasons. I promise you, because, you know, I like to use their strongest city, and they considered Houston their strongest city.
They did.
And you were the strongest part of that, which made them come back and even ask you to host when it came to Dallas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just felt like, yo, we gotta do what we gotta do. So we lied on his birth certificate. Yo, I went to my Black Mama bag and was like, you live with your uncle in Houston. So
because you were supposed to be a Houston resident, living in Houston, doing your comedy in Houston. And this man calls me and said, Alfred, you live in Houston. Kevin wants you on this show.
Yeah.
Y'all have no idea how much the level of hate that you just created for the both of you from this statement.
No, it's all right, because there was some Houston, and it's funny because Houston's got some strong comics.
Definitely.
And you know, like I said, fortunately for there was Kim Boyd who was on the show who's doing well. He's actually was on the King of Harlem. He's on a couple of other shows.
Oh yeah. He was on the joint with Forrest Whitaker. I seen that. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it. I was like, yo, there's
a new sketch comedy show on Showtime, I think, or something like that. He's on there with Kareem Green. So like, you know, like, so it was cool. And
it was a solid
Crystal Powell.
Yeah.
And what's the other guy?
The white cat. Everybody was funny. Man.
Everybody
I
was
can't think
funny.
of his name right now, but
like
everybody was funny at that episode.
But like I
man.
said, the person who I feel stole the show was the one person who
no
I
doubt.
touted, and we went through all the trouble. He stayed at my apartment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was Alfred. Alfred was the one that was the clear standout, and they all did great.
Yeah.
But I handpicked all of them. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so I even had a hand in the Dallas picking, with the exception of one, Keelana Splitter. I didn't know her at the time, which I felt like
Keelana's
when
very funny.
yeah, but everybody else, I was like, yeah, they good. You know what I mean? So I just have an eye for like, yo, well, who's real? But I couldn't wait 2 years for Alfred to get a shot.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, that would have been
From
crazy.
the bottom of my heart, that really changed the game for me, man.
You were working hard at the time too. You were working hard, so it just
I'm still working hard right now.
It just made sense. No, but it made sense because you was able to go on tour with a few comics. You
Yeah.
have so many relationships. Like you do your own thing now. Like you went and took a bunch of people to Africa.
Right.
You told me you was taking me, but we'll talk about that.
We'll talk
later.
about that after the show.
We'll have to have
Yeah.
that same conversation.
The
Rudy.
pandemic
You know what I'm saying?
messed it up, okay? You know, we had already drafted the
To
contract.
delay instead
Yo.
of me. Know what he out there doing.
Bro, Rudy, me and you and Alfred, we gotta have the same conversation.
Okay, fellas.
And I believed in him the same way you did. Like from the first time I seen him, I was like, "This dude's a star."
Yeah, he did.
And that's why we started working together.
I saw
But
that.
yeah, man, you know, no Africa yet. Though.
That
You
is
know,
hilarious.
that's
Fellas, let the dust settle.
All right.
The pandemic is almost over. We're going to the motherland.
all right. I'm gonna hold you to it.
That's hilarious, man. So you made a transition, Rudy, from stand-up comedy. I mean, you still do it, but you're on radio.
Yeah. Radio, you know, it's funny. Like everybody gets to choose their path. You know what I'm saying? In their careers and stuff like that. And one thing about radio that I liked, which I loved actually, not more than stand up, because I don't think anything can compare for me.
Yeah.
Other people may feel differently, but for me, it's like, yo, stand up is that deal. You know, being up on stage and it's all about you and the audience and how you create different things. That it's nothing that can compare to that. But radio made it so that I didn't have to be funny, and not having that pressure to be funny made me even more funny, made me more opinionated.
Yeah.
It actually made my stand-up even better because, you know, even my diction, always having to, you know, be clear and
Right.
confident in what I say. You know, sometimes I feel like I would rush through certain things in my comedy act where people, maybe because I'm from New York and I talk fast, my dialect or whatever would be like, you know, misunderstood. But with radio, I would have to slow things down, take a beat, take a breath. So it actually helped in that respect. But yeah, radio was something where I was like, yo, people are going to think this sounds crazy, but you know, I was like, I don't know about being out there and being that famous to where I'm going to theme parks or restaurants and I can't eat and chill
Right.
because I'm so famous that people are not going to let me enjoy myself. You know what I'm saying? You got to be careful what you ask for, you know? So I felt at the time I got into radio, I was like, yo, I could make a lot of money. You know what I mean? I can still be Rudy Rush. I can still do shows here and there. You know, there'll be a small group of people who know who I am.
Right.
I'm still gonna get stopped,
Right.
but it's gonna be 3 or 4 people. It
Yeah.
ain't gonna be 300 or 400.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Walking through the airport right now is Eddie Murphy,
Yeah.
and walking through with,
Yeah, you
with,
can't.
would you walk through as Eddie Murphy with all the millions he has, or would someone take just a third of that fortune, give it to you,
And be inconspicuous.
be
Yeah.
inconspicuous?
Love
I take
it.
that. Yeah, I take 3 million over
Yeah.
300 million if I can just have that. You know what I mean? And still have the fun of getting on stage and being with my family and doing the things that I want to do. You know, not have to worry about bills and stuff like that. So yeah, so you know that's one of the things that was attractive with the radio.
Yeah.
And that's why I did it. You know what I mean? Because everybody's like, yo, you look good. You should be on TV. You should do this and do that. I was like, that comes with a lot.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'd rather be rich than famous.
And we're gonna laugh and joke about this, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't no bad looking dude, so I know I was gonna have to fuck somebody up in Hollywood. They would have been trying to press me up against some wall, talking about, yeah, man, you know, you want to have this movie. I'm like, get your motherfucker. I ain't Terry Crews, nigga. I fuck niggas up.
Yeah,
You know,
I was about to
no.
ask him, so no ball touching.
No ball.
Can't touch Rudy's ball.
And let me tell you something, like, I mean, listen, I'm not here to expose Hollywood or whatever. Like, you're going to get it in corporate America too. But I've been pressed before, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I felt like, man, I don't want to compromise myself. Or, you know, not even with compromising yourself, even when you're defending yourself, you can hurt your career.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I try to put myself in the most I wouldn't say it's to be safe, to be, like scary safe, but just places where I can kind of maneuver, where the landscape was a lot less.
Where you are in control.
Yeah. But it still remains to be seen. You still gonna have to deal with elements of that. So I tell people, just go full fledged. Let God or whatever you believe in take you to the places where you need to go, because if you try to dictate it, it's almost like planning your life. I'm gonna be married at 25 and I'm gonna have kids at 30. Nothing's planned. You can't plan anything. So I'm like, yo, do what you like to do. Just stay, aware of your surroundings and stuff like that, because I left one evil to get involved with a different one. Like the haters and stuff like that were in radio and stuff like that, or people in positions of power wanting to control you.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can't, simply because you're a nice guy, with like, I'm not demonstrative and like, fuck that, you ain't gonna control me. It's just like, no, I wouldn't like to do that, because that probably wouldn't be advantageous to my career and my persona. I didn't come here for that.
I know you got a question about that.
I do. So as soon as you said like the haters in the radio in this situation, it made me think about a fairly recent situation with the radio show you was doing. It was your show, clearly.
The Rush Hour.
It was clearly your show. You brought it to Dallas. People was excited.
Yeah, man.
They brought a co-host on to work with you.
Yeah, man.
Now, let me ask you this. First of all, was it your idea to bring this particular individual as the co-host?
No, it wasn't. Okay. But at the same time, let me just say this. It wasn't, and so I felt a sense of loyalty whose idea of the person whose idea it was.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because anybody, and this is how much I feel like and have a respect for someone like a Steve Harvey, because I feel he's done everything he's done. He's been successful to a large degree. You know what I'm saying? You could say what you want about his relationships and all this stuff. Yeah. Motherfucker got relationship books.
That's
so,
right.
So go beat that. You know what I'm saying? So for someone to say to you, hey, it's almost like Alfred sitting here with us. You know what I'm saying? Alfred has a sense of loyalty to me. So if I'm putting him down, he's going to somewhat be loyal to the fact that, hey, I want to put you on this show, Alfred, but I want to put these people on before you.
Yeah.
Alfred, whether he likes it or not, he gonna be like, well, Rudy, if you think this is the way to go, then let's go that way. So to answer your question, she wasn't my choice.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But she was the choice of the person who was actually having me usurp Steve, and I thought that was a huge thing. Yeah. I said, if you see this vision, then I'm gonna see it through with you. And basically, that's how we started. You know what I'm saying? I had a choice of a couple of people other than that who had some radio, acumen under their belt, had some years or whatever. And there was some any entertainers, sometimes if you have some rough spots or whatever, they're gonna bring that up. So, a couple of people had some, so wasn't able. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be loyal to this dude who's bringing me here.
Right.
And unfortunately, it wasn't the same message conveyed to them. So when we got in, there was a clash of, and I can't say we argued. It wasn't a situation like that. Basically, it was a situation somebody, they didn't see me or didn't respect me for what I've done. Right. When you living in Hollywood, your whole life or most of your adult life and all your friends are on the tabloids or and you done dated this dude and that dude or whatever, and you had no idea who Rudy Rush was, right? Because you could miss me in Hollywood. You gonna miss me in Hollywood. You
in Hollywood.
You gonna miss me in Hollywood. You not. My name ain't popping up every 5 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when you come somewhere, you probably thinking your star is bigger than my star. Yeah. I'm not. I think I'm respectful of your star if you're respectful of mine.
Yeah.
It just led to that, and then so it was just and then it was just people just. It just got ugly to the point where it goes a lot deeper than I'm willing to even say right now. Because it was ridiculous, but like you said, I got taken off the show with my name on it. Got put on another show that I turned to #1 show, and then even at the end of that, once my contract was up, they were like, "Thanks, but we're not gonna renew it."
That's a little bit crazy to me, and I'm saying this because I felt like the energy, and this is. I mean, this is a more of a local situation. So if you live in the Dallas area, you're more understanding of this. But you can go look it up. But I felt like the energy was a natural transition.
Oh, it was.
Natural transition, because you worked with Didi
I worked
before.
with them before, but the weird thing before, a lot of people don't know this prior to, and don't ever let anybody make you feel like, you're there, you hear that thing, you got to work hard, you got to do this, you got to do that.
Right.
And it's true, but it's all about the definition, because people didn't know what I was doing while I was in Houston. People didn't know, like, on Monday night, I was doing, like, my shift was from 2 to 6. Mm-hmm. So the Dallas Cowboys and Brady James had a podcast that they would do with Bryce Butler. He was the wide receiver at the time.
Yeah.
We'd be at the Star. I'm in Houston. After I finished my shift Monday night in Houston, they had a car service pick me up, drive me 4 or 5 hours.
Did you sleep on the way?
I would sleep on the way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it was car service.
Yeah.
I stay at a hotel, get up at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. Wait, look, at Bryce, we would wait for you till 10:30 so you could have your French toast. You know what I'm saying? But we used to make fun of it. You know what I'm saying? But then every now and again, if I got there early, I would jump on with Didi and them in the morning. If Mike Sean wasn't there, or if Jade wasn't there, or if Didi wasn't there, I'd jump in with them.
Yeah.
And then I would drive back and be back in the Houston Metroplex
to do your show
before 12:30 on a Tuesday. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
crazy.
people talk about working hard.
Right.
Like, if you ain't working harder than that,
right?
Yeah, you was grinding.
Eat my ass. You know what I'm saying? Fuck out of here, right?
Yeah.
So
Pause.
so yeah, pause. Unless you're a female. No, but real talk.
We're gonna put his phone number on the bottom.
But real, he'd be like, "Stop, girl! What you doing? You crazy? Stop playing." No, I don't get down like that.
Yo, that's a whole other conversation. That's another
No, I
day.
don't get down like that.
That's another day. That's
Wow,
a whole
Frank
other conversation.
Yeah. She's like, "Why you tuning out?"
Yo,
I want you to stop.
What you doing?
So that was, so it was like the reason why it was an easy transition, because I was familiar with this show. It made it easy, and I knew them. I was friends with them. I watched Jay grow up. When Jay was the young lady on the show, she was an intern.
Yeah.
Driving my Mercedes to drop me off at the airport to bring my car back. So there's a history with Michael Sean being a friend of mine back in New York. We were all comics and stuff like that. And Didi and I working with each other on Duck Show. So it was a familiar situation, which made it easier for me. So it was easier for me to take my talent and take them to number one.
Yeah.
I felt like you were more reserved than your normal self, though.
Well,
I felt in my mind, I was thinking, all right, are they telling him to be more reserved, or is he just like, I'm gonna chill, I don't want to overshadow nobody?
You want to see the email that asked me that? Yeah, so it was definitely clipped. You know what I'm saying?
It felt that way, so I'm glad you're saying it.
It was because, like, listen, the powers that be was still gunning for me. You know what I'm saying? They were safe and everything like that. All I'm just gonna say, like, when you hire people, you gotta just look at their resume.
Right.
The first situation, they never had a healthy situation. How you get kicked off of a reality show where you need to be ratchet?
Yeah.
You that ratchet, you get kicked off a show where you gotta be ratchet. Like, I'm not here gunning.
No,
at
that's
nobody.
crazy though.
Because they out here still talking about my name and everything like that. Like people
Yeah.
who do things like that, they have a need to prove themselves right to everybody, and they want to just vilify everyone else around them. I don't have no desire to do that shit. You know what I'm saying? All I do is sometimes it get under my skin because I'm from a place where you don't talk about.
You can't. Don't speak on my name crazy.
When I come and see you, it's a problem. Now you don't want to all of a sudden everybody got their hand up. Like, what I do? So all my thing is this: I'm a grown man now, and this goes to everybody, baby mamas, all that shit. Like, if you got something to say about me, if you don't say it to my face, then it wasn't said.
Right.
Yeah. But I'll say this about the original situation that we was discussing. We've never spoke about this.
No.
Just as a listener, I felt the energy where it was going, and I felt like I knew when it went weird. I was like, "Yo, that's on that person."
Yeah,
because I could feel the energy. You know what I'm saying? I think any listener, you could feel the energy.
And the crazy thing is, you can work with anybody if you're a professional. Yeah. And when I say you can work with anybody, no, you can't work with somebody who late every day. You can't work with somebody who don't want to work. Now that's different. But when you got a Michael Jordan which I'm not calling myself that. You can call me Scottie Pippen. You can call me Steve Kerr. You can call me Phil Jackson. But when you working with the likes of a Dennis Rodman, you make it work. If it's meant to be,
you don't have to like the person.
You don't. Yeah. I mean, there's sitcoms.
Great analogy,
there's a million sitcoms that have been like iconic, like Seinfeld and other ones. Where the people. This is the problem with black. Excuse me. Can I?
Yeah.
With black motherfuckers, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, and I'm gonna say it right now, and this is the biggest gem I'm ever gonna drop. You could talk about racism, you could talk about all that shit. This is where white people got us beat. White people know. Other ethnicities fucking know. If I don't like you, but you affect my bottom line, I'm gonna fuck with you.
Right.
Black people will destroy or try to tear down. Burn the house that they living in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chained to the bed they sleeping in. To get you, they'll kill themselves in their career just to prove a point that they don't like you. We do that.
You don't have to
and
like
we've done it. And you don't have to
look.
you don't have to like anybody. Yeah. I told somebody the other day, you know, I come from a basketball background. If that big dude that talks shit and nobody like him, but I know he could grab rebounds and he could dunk and all. I'm picking him first.
Yeah.
Because he gonna help me win. I don't like his attitude either. I don't like the way he run up and down the court either. I don't like the way he foul everybody, but I'm putting him on a team so he don't foul me.
Right.
Yeah.
We gotta learn that we get more gratification of, really honestly, for stopping careers.
Yeah.
Or feeling responsible for stopping
careers.
Then anything, come on. We do that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I've never left a show. I've never left a situation. I've never left a relationship with a friend or girlfriend, anything, and had any negative thing to say. For what?
Yeah, wow.
Right.
For what? Because it's going to fall back on me like, yo, you petty, yo, you thinking too much about it, whatever. Mm-hmm. But with that situation, I never said a word about it. Even right now, I'm not even talking about the girl's name. You'll never know who it is unless you go back and find out who it was. Yes. But they speak on my name. People hit me, she on Clubhouse talking about you. Because you know why? Because she knows if I tell the truth, which I don't understand, if I told the whole story.
Right.
The whole story, you'll be, but they like that stuff. So I'm not gonna give you more fire for the flames.
Exactly.
But black people, I'm telling you, stop doing that.
We gotta work together.
Look at these NBA dudes.
I can't stand this dude. You understand what I'm trying to tell you?
The feeling is mutual.
Gets on my last damn nerve.
Yeah. Real, man.
But look at this.
Yeah, and he eats everything in the studio. Like, he used to be slim.
Hey, listen. Listen. Something happened to my clothes.
We'll have an episode about that.
Yeah, I think my dryer is messed up, man.
It definitely is. Cause
it's shrinking my shit, bro.
A little.
Man.
But anyway, Rudy, what's going on? What's going on next? In the future? What's next for Rudy Rush?
So, the cool thing is, everybody, if you were really about that life, the funny thing is, you ever see those movies when, they be like, when should I grab the sword? And the little sensei be like, you'll know when it's time.
Right.
Like, you ever see that? You be like, well, he gonna know. Like, when it's gonna be a light that comes. And there is an awakening in your career that, I think with COVID, most artists did not know the extent of their artistic ability.
Yeah.
Did not know that there were other things that they could be creative with and do. And I've learned a whole bunch of different things that I can not only do, but and also provide to entertainment. Meaning, like everything from, like being a consultant to an up and coming comedy club, which I'm currently a part of. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Also having, being an executive producer, going and grabbing young talent, whether it's comics or writers that have projects, and using my relationships, having that on the desk of an ABC or CBS executive that's a friend of mine, who is now the head of the network, so things like that. A real estate business that, that's flourishing now. Like, so I just kind of put my hat into a bunch of different things, even a company that I built with a friend of mine from high school who's a police officer, police chief in South Carolina. We have this group called, it's Battle for Peace, where he had a dream where a situation happened, just with gun violence and stuff like that. And him being an African-American and a police chief, it's Black Lives Matters and it's Blue Lives Matter for him. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of people on that side of the fence that, like they're stuck. And so we just wanted to bring dialogue. We wanted to bring change in the community so that this DJ battle brings awareness about guns and violence and growing up in inner cities and stuff like that. So I'm a part of that company that's getting a lot of headway right now from what we do.
I got no invite. I got no invite.
No, no, you got to follow me. We did like 2 or 3 shows already, but that's taking off. So basically, and then I have the podcast that I'm doing. I'm also going to be a part of this show that's based out of Atlanta, which is like a real sports QVC type of show where you interview athletes and then they sell memorabilia as we have conversations. And that's a big show too. So like I'm finding out that all of these things that I can do that are possible and I'm doing it right here. Without traveling around and having to do all of this running around.
Man.
So,
Come on,
bro.
man.
So, yeah.
So I'm going to be calling you too, man. Real soon. I got a project done in some,
Yeah. And, the stand-up is still strong. I got a couple of projects I'm doing, and there's one thing I can't talk about right now, but I think it's going to be very, very, there's some things like it out there, but I feel like my journey and where I stand in comedy, this is going to take off in a way that you'll never even see it coming. It's going to be so phenomenal. It's going to be, it's bigger than $1 million project. And the people tied to it, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's going to be great. So
what do you need help with on that project?
The man is looking for work.
He said 7. He said 7. Once you say 7 figures, I'm like, there's room for me.
No. I promise you, like, right now we're in the process of, like looking for locations to film and things of that nature.
I got people.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty dope. I'm gonna just take everything that I've learned over the years and I'm gonna share it. Now that's the best I can.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rudy Rush.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Thank you so much, bro.
Thank
man,
you guys. Thank you.
No, thank you, brother. 'Cause for real, man. Like
we could talk for hours.
We could talk for hours.
But I'm hungry.
We can tell.
Obvious. But yeah, man. Just off camera, man. The discussions we've had with Rudy, man. It's like there's not enough time. So we definitely got to get him back.
Yeah, I'd love to come back, man. Talk about more stuff, whatever. Yeah, y'all got a nice little setup.
We might be in a different spot when you come back. We gotta see how these views go this week.
Yeah, I heard that. I saw the neighbor cleaning his gun out.
Yeah, we paying our rent on a weekly basis.
Texas rent prices is hot.
Yo, they getting up
there.
Yeah,
man. Elon Musk out here talking about come here from Cali and it just messing everything up. It's crazy.
The A to Z show, y'all. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, and also don't forget to hit
and share,
and that little bell right there, the notification, so you can see every time we drop a new
Rudy
episode.
Rush on any and everything he's doing because it's tremendous.
We out.
Thank you.